So, I'm on my way to Mount Holly, North Carolina. I think I'm gonna get parked there, chill for a couple days. But I made a couple videos yesterday about my beliefs. And the last video I made where it says I'm not an atheist, I had people telling me, well, shit, you sound like you might be agnostic. I'm familiar with the term agnostic. I've actually had conversations with people who are agnostic. But I wanted to come in here and just talk about being agnostic and what it is. So I pulled it up here. And agnostic is clearly defined as a person who believes that nothing is known or can be known of the existence or nature of God or anything beyond material phenomena. A person who claims neither faith nor disbelief in God. Now, with the agnostic point of view, perspective, is they claim that they don't know anything outside of what they can see, material phenomena. This is what you can see. And the issue, I guess I don't have an issue with agnostic. But the thing about an agnostic person is they claim it says here they claim neither faith nor disbelief in God. I completely claim disbelief in God. So it puts me more in the realm. It's like I'm in, y'all remember Venn diagrams when you were young? The Venn diagram, some of you remember, two circles overlapping. There is some control group or some characteristic on one side. The other side, there's some control group or characteristic, and then they overlap in the middle. I think I'm overlapping in the middle. Or if you have atheism in one of the circles and agnostic in the other circle, there's an overlap in the middle, that gray area, some would deem it. I think I'm in the gray. Because I completely disbelieve in a would-be God or gods based on the concept of God. I have an issue with the concept of God as a whole. A concept of one or many beings creating life, creating the planet, creating humans. I'm in complete disbelief when it comes to a God, even the idea of God. Because you'll have people, and you'll see these people a lot. They'll say things like, well, I believe in God, but not religion. They'll say these things. And I'm always, I question these people when I say, well, where did you get your concept of God from? What does God do? Or what does a God do? And of course, you've been taught that a God would be the one who created life. But to me, that's a form of social engineering. As to what you understand a God would do is to create life. Not so much that life and the creation of life just happened on a whim. People feel like there is something or somebody that created life. A God did this. But you get that concept from religion. Because in religious stories, God is one who would be creating. Some people will deem this being as a creator. I don't believe in that shit. I don't think... And typically people who say they believe in God but not religion, they're classify themselves as spiritual. I'm not spiritual. I don't believe in spirits. I don't believe in that type of shit. So I'm not spiritual. This is what drifts me into the atheism category, but then I don't know how we got here. This is what drifts me over into the agnostic category. It looks like someone here as I pulled this up, somebody asked what was the difference between agnostic and atheist. And I think this is a pretty good definition. An interesting one, if nothing else. It says atheism is about belief, or specifically what you don't believe. Agnosticism is about knowledge, or specifically about what you don't know. An atheist doesn't believe in any gods. An agnostic doesn't know if any gods exist or not. It's interesting as to even the concept of the would-be God. So an atheist doesn't believe in any gods whatsoever, I'm with the atheist on that. I don't believe in any gods whatsoever. But I also don't know how life was created. I just think the concept of one God doing it, and there's some type of purpose even in it. I don't think there's really a purpose in life. I know that some people may view that as, almost something negative, but I don't see the purpose. I don't understand, I guess, the grand scheme of this. You born, then you exist, and then you die. Some people die of old age. Some people die of disease. Some people die, before they're even born. Some people die when they're born. I mean, there's just death happening all the time. What's the purpose of all of this? What's the point of death? Because that's what makes the point or the purpose of life. So, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, what's the purpose of death? I understand cycles as it pertains to nature. But typically cycles in nature would be reborn. The leaves are going to fall from the tree. They're going to come back in the spring. So it's not like there is a death as far as plant life is concerned, because plant life is constantly rebaking itself. And maybe we as humans exist as one thing in the continuing cycle of life. That is would be spring or the rebirth. Every birth is count as to my life. Somebody's being born right now, and I'm connected to that even. Could be that. Because death is happening at all times. All types of death. Not just natural death, if you will. So I don't understand the purpose of death, which makes life make no sense to me personally. But an agnostic doesn't know whether any gods exist or not. So they're kind of in a limbo state. I've heard agnostics tell me that, well, I do believe in God, but I don't think the creator God interferes with everyday life. I think he or she just made shit, dropped it like it's hot, and got the fuck up out of here. I was like, well, what's the point of that? I question the purpose of that. But when you look at the concept that you have of God, the only concept that we all have is one that was man-made. Every concept of God you have is man-made. All of them. No matter how unique you feel, the idea you have for God, the point of you giving reverence to God or gods, is because that's what you believe that's what you believe God wants. This is what you've been taught. Whether it's simple worship or even thanking God. To me, in my mind, I go, thank God for what? Thank God for what? But people think that's a way to give reverence to God. That they would want to be thanked. I got questions for God. Because why are people born weak? Why are people born with disease? Why are there so many sick motherfuckers running around here? And what the hell is wrong with white folk? What's wrong with these motherfuckers? But I think I'm in that, again, if you remember the Venn diagram, I'm in that middle area where I don't believe in any gods or any would-be creator, because I understand what the idea of a creator even came from. That's still something that was imposed on me, even that idea in itself. Even as we use the term God, these are things that were imposed on me. But I still don't know how we were created and where we go when we die. So I got a little bit of both happening with me. I don't know, maybe I'm atheistic, if they have that. If I could be classified or stuck in that category, atheistic. And that's simply because I don't know what or how we were created. But I don't believe a God did it. Because I don't understand the purpose or point. I don't understand the purpose or point. And even if one would be spiritual or say they believe in God, I had a lady comment talking about she believed in God because she had some experience with God. You'll get these. And these people are odd to me because I already feel like the human being feels like they special, but one or a select person that would have seen God showed themselves to them. Like, what made you that special? What is God's interest in playing this divine game of hide and seek? What type of games is God playing? To show himself to a few people, but not many. That doesn't make any sense. But I did have a woman comment that, and I've seen that comment a lot. Well, I've got experience. I got some experience with God. I know, because I've seen it. That's how I treat those people. Right. You give them. It's one of those situations. Like, right. But he's not showing himself to everybody else. Okay. But I think that's what it is. I mean, I do respect, the agnostic perspective. I had somebody tell me they agnostic, they believe in God, but not the Father, Son, Holy Ghost, not that, that area. But even the belief in God, I can't rock with that. And it says, again, an agnostic person claims neither faith nor disbelief. They just kind of just out here. I don't have any faith. Zero faith in a would-be God. But I don't know where we came from. And even when I ponder about ideas of where we came from and why we're here, I just get mad. Because I see no purpose in life. I see not one purpose. Not to be born, exist, and then die. There's no purpose in that to me. That's if you get to live and die of old age. It's if that happens. So I don't really get the purpose. I think that annoys me more than anything. It's not even figuring out why we're here, or I guess how we got here, but why we are here. And what's the point of this shit? It seems like a big ass game to me. But I don't know. I mean, again, this is just me sharing my thoughts. Nothing heavy, nothing major. You know, people are inclined, of course, to believe whatever it is that gives them solace, gives them peace, whatever that is. I'm not the type of person who needs to know, or I guess needs to believe in a God to be okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not affected one way or another. I don't need that to be all right. Some people do. To some people, just the belief itself gives them purpose. So I understand that. It's a weakness, if you ask me. But I do understand it from their perspective. Like, they don't, there is nothing there ain't nothing else going on around here. The human being has fashioned its life to have more purpose if it's in a position of servitude, which I think is very interesting. You have to be in a service position for you to feel like your life has meaning. The existence or idea of God has made people be better people even, which I also think is weird. Now, why you need that to be good or to be okay or, to be a decent person? I don't understand that. But this is why the conversation about religion or religion, spirituality, the existence of God or the non-existence of God, this is what keeps this conversation going, because there's so many questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things that you just like, what the fuck? And me, I'm like, what is the purpose of all this shit? And the people who claim spiritual, they still want to be connected. They feel like they can meditate and tap into God, or or things like that. It's just like, no, ain't no spiritual shit going on. Not to me, anyway. Ain't no spiritual shit going on out here in this world. I think things are just happening at random. Completely random. Chaos. And the human is trying to force order, of course. Try to force order, but things are happening completely at random out here, if you ask me. Based on my observation. Just random. And of course, I do believe life is going to be what you make it. But if life is what you make it, then that makes you God. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes you God. Even though you may not be able to control your death, that makes you God in every other aspect other than your untimely death. Just like right now, as I'm driving, if a motherfucker was to decide they wanted to, swerve over into my lane and kill us both. Just cause, might be bored as hell. Just decide to swerve over real quick and kill us both. This life is happening at random, just completely random. You never know what the fuck gonna happen out here. So I do believe that life has to be what you make it, and I guess the attitude and mood you have going towards life. But, it's still, if life is what you make it, then that makes you God. And people are uncomfortable with that. People are uncomfortable with the idea of them being God. It makes them feel as though they're almost blaspheming. That's how you know the power that the idea of a would-be God has. Because people think it's blasphemous for them to believe that they are God. And then that's crazy. And I'm more with that too. This shit is me. I'm God, hell. I'm not all powerful, not all knowing, of course, because these are attributes that we connect to a God. Again, social engineering, because we have these ideas of what a God is or what a God does. I'm not all powerful, I'm not all knowing. But I do believe that each of us, we are our own gods. We want to believe in something. God is you. pray to who? You know what I'm saying? Like, worship who? If not yourself. But I don't know, man. I know that I fall into a gray area that has not been clearly defined, and I'm fine with that. I think that a lot of times we're trying to force ourselves into certain definitions, and that causes people to have one set mind on things because they put themselves in certain categories, certain definitions, especially when it comes to religion, as to, well, I'm a Methodist, or I'm a Catholic, or, you know, whatever, or even a person saying I'm an atheist, or I'm agnostic. You kind of chunk yourself into a category, and that category is very clearly defined. Now, I don't think I'm very clearly defined. I don't think my ideas are very clearly defined, because I can take a little bit of this from there and a little bit of that from there and get this right here. So it's not very clearly defined. And that's what happens when you take on these ideas and these traits from these definitions, that you have to fit into that definition. Once you decide that's you, motherfucker decided they spiritual, well, now you got to fit into that definition, fit into that category. I believe in God, but not religion. I don't actually know what category that is or what definition that is, but you'll hear these ideas. You have to fit into that. I don't believe in God. I just don't. Based on what I'm seeing out here in this world, I guess, or even based on the concept of God that exists, I don't believe in God. Based on the concept. Because I don't know what a God really would be, but based on the concepts that are here about God, prior to me even being here, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that at all. The concepts of a so-called God and a creator and somebody made this shit, like, no. I don't believe that shit at all. If somebody did make this shit, then goddamn it, I got some questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got some questions for them motherfuckers that don't seem like they're not being answered, you know. But again, that's what makes this conversation go round and round. I do think it's very silly of someone to believe in a God in the way that the concept has been presented to us. I think that's silly, and I will continue to be laughing at these people who get their religious beliefs or get their purpose in life from books that were written by people who don't know. I think that's silly. But it shows the power of social engineering. It shows that power as to how you were raised, what you believe in, and things like that. It shows that power. So I'm still gonna make fun of motherfuckers. Like, don't get this shit fucked up. Alright? I'm still gonna be making fun of you motherfuckers. People gonna be mad at me about it. I really don't care. All I can suggest that you do, you can probably pray that I stop. You know, pray to your God. People call me the devil and shit all the time. The devil ain't even fucking real. I'm real. So I'd rather you call me by my name. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't call me somebody who ain't real. That means I don't exist. So don't be calling me the goddamn devil. Because that motherfucker ain't real. But, you know, we'll be having these conversations. And I only hope that people will question things. People will be open to seeing this thing for what it is, seeing how random life is, seeing that there is no certain God you can pray to and you be okay. Like, it's not happening like that. So to me, therefore, there is no God. People done pray to every God all over the world, and look at the world. So, you know, or again, it could be y'all motherfuckers is calling them by the wrong name. I don't know what the fuck y'all doing, but I know that people have been very religious, very even spiritual, or whatever the fuck you classify yourself as, and look at the world. So that in itself shows me There ain't no God. There is none. Just based on the state of the world and the condition of the world and how people are treated out here, how people, you know, the suffering, all over this planet. And that's not just with human beings. That's even with animals. That's with everything. Just the suffering. Like, what the fuck? But that's all the fuck I wanted to say. And I'm gonna leave this shit alone for a little while till somebody come at me, I guess. You know, I'll wait. I told you I'm not gonna debate with religious peoples or spiritual peoples or whatever. Like I said, motherfucker, if you getting better sleep at night believing somebody watching over you and all this shit, then, you know, it is what it is. But it's no. Hell no. And don't try to convince me by saying that you saw God or you had an experience with God. No. I'm not buying that bullshit. I'm not buying it. If you had an experience with God, then goddamn it, you should be able to answer some questions then, because you should have asked him some questions. I'll be damned if motherfucking God gonna show himself to me and I don't have a list ready. Like, motherfucker, no, don't come here just shining and floating around and goddamn being magical, goddamn it. I don't give a fuck about all that. Come have a seat, goddamn it. Let's talk. Give a fuck about all these lights and shit. Like, fuck all this magic, motherfucker. No, that doesn't woo me. You should know that you made me, right? Sit your ass down. I got some questions. Let's have a walk, goddammit. But that's all the fuck I wanted to say, man. Y'all comment if you feel need to comment. If you're in that place where you're questioning things, good. You should be. You should be questioning things. I try to always try to understand why people find peace in believing in fake shit. Hell, I imagine I could find peace in believing in goddamn, you know, Spider-Man or Batman if I wanted to. I feel like somebody out here fighting crime like that, but no. I don't know why we find peace in shit that don't make sense. But that's all the fuck I want to say. I'm gonna leave y'all alone for real. Comment if you feel need to comment, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Links to follow me on social media in the description box. Donate via Patreon. Order a t-shirt from a brother. Shout out to you, Rob. Y'all already know what the fuck it is. I'm out.